Balut is a Filipino term for a fertilized, developing egg embryo that is boiled and eaten from the shell. It is commonly sold as street food in China and other Southeast Asian countries, notably Cambodia and Vietnam. A balut is a fertilized bird egg, usually a duck, which is incubated for a period of 14 to 21 days, depending on the local culture, and then boiled or steamed. The contents are eaten directly from the shell. Balut that is incubated for longer periods of time have a well-developed embryo, and the features of the duckling are recognizable. The partially developed embryo bones are soft enough to chew and swallow whole. The mallard duck is considered to be the most important breed for egg production to make balut. It is common street food in the Philippines and other localities, and is a relatively cheap source of protein and calcium. Traditionally, the fertilized eggs are incubated in the sun or buried in sand, and stored in baskets to retain warmth. In order for the embryo to develop normally, it must be exposed to heat for the correct period of time, while ensuring that the temperature is not too hot to harm the eggs, or too cold to prevent growth. The embryo is very sensitive to high temperatures and is easily killed upon cooking in the sun. After 9 days, the eggs are held to a light, called candling, to reveal the embryo inside. The production of balut depends on egg maturation cycles, where the egg begins developing and changes in texture. Throughout these various maturation periods, different temperatures are required to accentuate the specific egg and embryo characteristics. The duration of egg incubation is a matter of local preference. In Cambodia, the egg is incubated between 18 to 20 days, and in Vietnam between 19 to 21 days. In the Philippines, balut is generally incubated for 14 to 18 days before being boiled for consumption. There are many chemical changes that occur inside the duck egg as it is being processed, which can vary depending on how or what it is cooked with. Temperature has a significant impact on the final taste and texture of the cooked balut. Warm temperatures of between 29 and 30 degrees Celsius change the taste and texture of the yolk by making it more grainy. While boiling, added salt can increase the hardness of the egg yolk and affect the overall texture of the final balut product. Balut is consumed in high amounts within countries in Southeast Asia, including Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, and the Philippines. It is recognized as a national food of the Philippines, but possibly originated from China. Balut can be found in North America, however it is not common as the majority of people outside of Southeast Asia still recognize balut as a novel and taboo food, and are often anxious about eating it. Some countries and locations will serve balut raw, meaning that it was only lightly boiled or cooked very briefly, although this is not a common practice and is potentially dangerous since it increases the risk of spoiling and of ingesting harmful microorganisms. Although balut is globally recognized as a Filipino food, it is being consumed less and less in the Philippines. This is partly due to increasingly Western tastes, but also because balut is often associated with poverty. In Saigon, Vietnam, balut can be found in the streets where vendors operate on the back of a motorbike in alleys. In the Philippines, balut eaters prefer salt, chili, garlic, and vinegar to season their eggs. In Vietnam, balut is eaten with a pinch of salt and pepper, with lime or ginger, and rau ram, also known as laksa leaf. In Cambodia and China, balut is eaten while still warm in the shell and is served with nothing more than a little garnish, which is usually a mixture of lime juice and ground pepper. Balut has an unusual texture and is similar in taste to chicken soup. The broth surrounding the embryo is sipped from the egg before the shell is peeled and the yolk and young chick inside can be eaten. All of the contents of the egg may be consumed, although the white albumin may remain uneaten depending on the age of the fertilized egg. This is due to its unappetizing, cartilaginous taste and its tough and rubbery texture. Vendors sell cooked balut from buckets of sand used to retain warmth, accompanied by small packets of salt. Uncooked balut are rarely sold in Southeast Asia. The cooking process is identical to that of hard-boiled chicken eggs. Duck eggs that are not properly developed after 9 to 12 days are sold as panoy, which look, smell, and taste similar to a regular hard-boiled egg. In Filipino cuisine, these are beaten and fried, similar to scrambled eggs, and served with a vinegar dip. In the Philippines, balut has recently entered haute cuisine by being served as appetizers in restaurants. Information relating to whether boiling a partially developed embryo is ethically acceptable or not can be found in the legislation relating to the euthanasia and treatment of research animals. Bird embryos that have reached greater than 50% of their incubation have developed a neural tube sufficient for pain perception. Therefore, they should be euthanized by similar methods used in avian neonates, such as anesthetic overdose, decapitation, or prolonged exposure to carbon dioxide. Similarly, in the UK, embryonic birds are protected animals once they have reached the last third of their incubation period. There are specified methods of humanely killing protected animals used in research, but boiling is not one of these. Depending on the species of duck, some eggs used for balut would be boiled within the last half or third of embryo development. The RSPCA Australia recommends against boiling the duck embryo from the 18th day of incubation onwards, due to the potential for suffering beyond that point, and it notes that it is an area that is yet to be further researched. Several groups wish to ban balut and have petitioned to have it labelled fertilized duck egg with embryo and taken off the menu of a New York restaurant. As a response, Filipino New Yorkers have created a counter-petition asking to leave the food item alone. The incubation temperatures and environment required for proper development of balut during processing are ideal growth conditions for many bacteria, including Salmonella enteritis. In addition, fecal pathogens can be deposited on the eggshell surface during laying. Balut is therefore labelled as a hazardous food in Canada. Warnings have been published to obtain balut only from safe, well-known producers. According to popular Vietnamese belief, these eggs are a nutritious and restorative food for pregnant or delivering women.